So in real time, I can figure out who people are, what makes them tick, and how they fit together. Which a lot of people don't think of doing that. When they meet people, they just say, "Oh, that's a cool guy," or a fun person to hang out with. They don't think of turning away and Googling them and figuring out who they are, what they do, and find them on Facebook or find them on Twitter and subscribe to them and start seeing what they're doing. I'm doing that in real time. That's why I'm really looking forward to these wearable computers coming from Google next year. The Google Project Glass that puts a computer screen right here. And it will let me do those Google searches in real time. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, but not by thought, but you will have some face recognition in future?
No, unclear, because that gets into governmental regulation. They certainly can do it. The technology is done. Face.com, which is an Israeli company, has face detection. It works. I've seen it work. It's been on my iPhone. It works. It only works for France. They limit it. They limit it to not freak people out. The database is there. I went to Facebook and they said, we have 1 billion people's photos. We can do face detection. No problem. The problem is the governments would freak out. And people would freak out.
People would freak out, yeah.
Right? People would freak out, and governments, therefore, would freak out and cause regulations to happen. And so both Google and Facebook told me they are going to be very careful with that kind of technology because they can't afford to have the government regulating their businesses.
I don't know. You never know what they do with their data in the background.
I think it's going to be a startup that's...
Who ignores all these?
No, it's going to be a startup, and like Highlight, for instance. Highlight's a great example of this. Little startup. When you start it up, you know what you're getting. It shows you other people who are using Highlight within 100 yards. And it shows you their Facebook likes that are in common with you and the Facebook friends that are in common with you. It's great. I love it. I have 2,800 people I've already met there. Wonderful tool. But it's completely opt-in. Everybody knows what it's for, And so if you say that's intrusive, well, you joined it, so stop joining that, right? Where Google and Facebook have had other use cases, and if they try to add this new use case on, it freaks people out because they weren't expecting Google to surface their information that way, even though Google has it, right? For instance, Google knows every search you've made and has stored that in a database somewhere. Most people don't think about that because they've never surfaced it. I can't go somewhere and look at all your Google searches, right? But there is a database somewhere that has all of your Google searches stored about you. In fact, you can look at your own history, right, if you turn that on. So, but they can't surface it. They can't change the expectation of what the product was. And a startup doesn't have that problem. So a startup can come along like Face.com and say, hey, we're going to do face detection, and it'll be opt-in, and people will join it. I'll join it. I'll join it the minute it's out, right?
You're joining everything.
I join everything.